wanted some roast beef for sandwiches. So I thought, well, I'm gonna make some because we need to get through this beef because we have another cow going probably summertime and she's gonna give us a lot. This is not the proper cut it wanted me to use, but I don't have top sirloin because I like my sirloin steaks. So I'm using a London broil. We'll see if it works. It says grated garlic. I'm just gonna use my garlic food here. This garlic is still pretty frozen, but I'm gonna try it anyway. He does a pretty good job. See? 2.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. 1, 2. You know why all these use kosher salt? Because I have this in the back of my cabinet and I have to get out 4 other things to get to this. 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper. 1, 2, and 2 teaspoons of rosemary leaves. I'm gonna do like 1.5 because that's a powerful one. I'm gonna stir it up here. I'm gonna get that garlic in there. It says loosely. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you cover that loosely and refrigerate it for 3 hours or overnight, which is what I'm gonna do. This has been sitting overnight and it needs to sit out and come to room temperature for 30 minutes to an hour. I'm gonna get my oven set to 325. Line a cookie sheet with foil and then put a cooling rack on top of that. Put the roast on it and lightly coat it in olive oil and then cook it in the oven to 140 degrees internal temperature. I pulled this out of the freezer when we got home. It's easier to slice if you freeze it for a little bit. Cut it, I think, this way, so we'll have long slices. There's a little dial in the back where you can choose the thickness, and I want it super thin. So I'm gonna do 1 slice and see how far it gets. It's turned out pretty good. I'm impressed. With this roast beef sandwich stuff, I'm gonna make French dip sandwiches. I'm using this. You can use beef stock or whatever au jus you want to use. This is a 2 parts water, 1 part this. I put half a cup of water in there. I'm gonna do 1/4 cup of this. That should be plenty for us. While that's warming up, I am gonna add the beef so that it'll heat it up. And these are real thin, so that didn't take very long. I have some buns here. This would taste really good with French bread, but my husband doesn't care for it. He claims. I think he'd eat it. I have some provolone cheese because that's what we prefer. And then we get this in the broiler. Like way up here. Oh my goodness. And then you try not to burn the bread. It went under the broiler for like less than 2 minutes. So I just get the lids put on those. And then It was a little salty. I'd pull back on the salt. We're making spring rolls. We've had a couple of these for a while in the back of the pantry. I'm just using one chicken breast that I butterflied, and then we're using some open marinade that we had. It's a Caribbean jerk marinade, but it was really good in this. Making matchsticks out of this. Chopping a jalapeno. And then we have a nasty cucumber that Derek's gonna slice because I don't even like the smell of it. Get that away from me. We've also got cilantro and some butter lettuce. And I'm gonna get this boiling for the noodles. Now we're gonna make the peanut sauce, and this will be linked below in the description. 1/3 cup of smooth peanut butter. 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. And that's now boiling for the noodles. We got these at an Asian market. They might be hard to find at your regular grocery store. Rice noodles. Okay, that has to cook for 8 minutes. So there's our rice noodles. Back to the peanut sauce. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. It's supposed to be low sodium, but we don't have that right now. 2 tablespoons of honey. We used to have our own bees, but we got rid of them because it's hot when you have to harvest, and those boxes are heavy. And our bees were angry, even though they were the non-aggressive or nice kinds. I don't think so. So 1, 2, 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. Ooh. And 2 cloves of garlic, pressed or minced. I'm going to use this that needs to be used up anyway. And 4. And then 2 to 3 tablespoons of water. This is a 1/2 tablespoon, so 1 or half, 1, 1 1/2, 2. It says as needed, so I'm going to hold off on that last one. The noodles are done. So it says to get it in cold water. I'm just going to strain them from here and get them into some cold water to stop cooking. Oh, that's not cold or anything on my hand. Okay. Now I'm going to pull this chicken. This is warm water, and you put this wrapper in for 15 seconds. It's still a little crunchy. Okay. And then it's super frustrating to unfold it Derek's gonna make a nasty one here with cucumber on it. Folding like a burrito.
Definitely ain't selling that at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
These are always delish. It's a rainy day, and usually on rainy days we'll try to go out to the antique stores just for something to do. So I'm making a sourdough recipe, and then hopefully I can go find a real good like sourdough crock. This again comes from Kent Rowland's recipes. They're all available online. Starting off, I need 3 cups of my sourdough starter. Cross your fingers. Oh my. Okay, how are we gonna do this? You know what? I'm gonna do it in the sink. I'll be right back. There's my 3 cups of starter. And then we need 1/4 ounce of rapid rise yeast, which is 2 1/4 teaspoons. Hopefully this doesn't react like the last time. 1/2 cup of sugar. 1 teaspoon of salt. 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. We stir this together and then let it sit for a minute and hope that it doesn't explode over the top. Okay, hopefully I have enough flour here. If not, I'm gonna have to get in my buckets with the gamma lids, you know. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, it says to add flour until it's no longer sticky. Okay, it's not that sticky. I'm gonna get my oven preheated to 350. Of course the dogs are fighting. Okay, this is supposed to be on a floured surface. And we're making a 12 by 18 inch square. I meant a rectangle. I did take shapes in school. Just gotta kind of slap it aggressively, I guess. Come on. Actually, that's working pretty good. He says up to 1/3 cup of sugar. To that sugar, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. 1. Oh, 2. I turned off my oven because it's supposed to sit for 40 minutes and rise after I do this step. So this is a stick of butter. I'm just gonna this is gonna take too long with this little brush thing. If you haven't noticed, I don't mind things with multiple steps. I just hate when it takes too freaking long. I'm just a rolling. I don't know about this. That turned out bigger than it's supposed to be. I used the extra butter in that brush to grease this. And now I'm gonna make 1-inch cinnamon rolls. Flat cinnamon rolls. so we'll see how this turns out. We'll just cut out a corner. Okay, I have a piece of parchment paper for the top, and it says to butter it, so I'm going to use these, and then this. Alright, I have started the oven. Let's see how they look. They look like chunky masses of dough, but I think it'll taste good. Now, Kent Rollins has a brown sugar icing for this, but I don't have any heavy cream, so I'm just gonna do the icing that I know how to make, which is get some powdered sugar and then a dash of vanilla, a dash of milk until it's the right consistency. It needs to be thinned down. Milk. Whisk the crap out of it. And that's okay. We're ready to cook 350, 20 to 25 minutes. It was starting to get a little brown on the edges. Go to 10, I guess. As I drip stuff all over the stove. Looks delish.
I think this much is going to be plenty.
This is a moose roast that he harvested, so he's taking extra time to take the silver skin off. You might be wondering, why do these people randomly have Russian meals? When he goes and hunts, he's with his cousin, and while he's there, his cousin's wife will make Russian meals because that's where she's from. And if he likes it, he brings it home and we keep them around if we both like them. And he's making these pretty small because it's easier to eat that way.
It's supposed to make matchsticks.
This is going to be a rice dish, so I'm sure you could add whatever vegetables you want to it. And then dice up a medium onion. He's adding a little bit of olive oil here, and adding in the meat till it's lightly brown. Off camera, he added 4 tablespoons of butter and then added the onion. And then add in your julienne carrots, or matchstick carrots, whatever you want to call them. 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper.
Half a teaspoon of paprika.
Half a teaspoon of cumin.
Cumin. Yep.
Bay leaf. 2 bay leaves. And then you cook that about 5 minutes. It was looking a little dry, so we put a little bit of water in. Then he's taking some basmati rice and rinsing it off real quick. Then you add the rice in and make a pretty even layer of it so that it cooks evenly. Triangle salt. Let me see that sprinkling, hey. Then you add 2 cups of hot water. Try not to make a big hole in the rice. Normally you'd cut it over a big bulb of garlic, but we just used a few garlic cloves of mine. Garlic.
You're supposed to put that cut in half, but we don't have it, so.
What's that? Add a ½ teaspoon of coriander, and then cover and cook for 30 minutes or until the rice is done. And then we removed the garlic.
Figure we don't want bites of garlic.
And typical us, we ate it with ketchup on top. Closer? Okay. Okay, this is the rest of that mousse from the pluff. We're just then slicing it because we're making bulgogi. It's like a sweet sauce. Derek had this in Korea when he was stationed there. Okay, so we're marinating the meat in half of that bulgogi, and then we'll put it in the fridge. This is on medium high. You put in like a carrot's worth probably. Yeah. What kind of rice is that?
Cow rice.
This is an easy and delish meal, and if you can't find the bulgogi sauce, you can make it. There's plenty of recipes online. If you don't know me, I love Halloween, and I have found practical peculiarity, however you say that, peculiarities. There was a cookie recipe that I saw him make on YouTube, and I thought, well, I have all those ingredients. That cookie that he made in that video is not in this book. I'm gonna make that for you. I'm gonna cut this recipe in half because it's just me and my husband, and honestly, with the flavorings, he won't eat it. I have these clementines I need to use up. You're supposed to have the zest of one orange. That kind of makes an orange, right? 3? Okay. Oh man, I hate zesting. I don't know how much juice is going to come out of that. Let's see what happens. A few of them have been a little juicier than that first one. Half a teaspoon, so I only need a 1/4 teaspoon. 8 tablespoons of softened, unsalted butter. And then 3/4 cup of sugar, but I'm doing it in half, so that looks about half. And beat until light and fluffy. You're supposed to have separated eggs. Come on. We're getting eggs like it's spring. It's going to be 80 degrees in a few days here in Texas. And then I'm sure it'll get butt freezing cold again. Okay. Yes, I'm using the yolks and not the whites right now. It says to save the whites for something else. Okay, success. Well, I done it again, and I put 2 yolks in there when I was cutting the recipe in half. Dadgummit! Why am I so dumb? Yeah, I can't get the yolks out of that. I swear. I look like the worst Cooks in America show. But my butter is softened now to add to this. And now I'm afraid I'm going to scramble my eggs. I was texting and it went a little long in the microwaves. The other half of that 3/4. Add this butter in. Okay. And then we add half a teaspoon of salt. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. 1, 2. And then we're gonna add in 2 1/4 cup of flour. Mix that in. Real low. There we go. Okay, now I need to cut it in half, close to half. I'm gonna add half a teaspoon of orange juice because I don't have extract. and a zest of 1 orange or a billion little clementines. And then orange food dye. I don't have orange, but yellow and red make orange. Here's what this looked like after I got an arm workout. Now we're gonna work on this one. 1.5 teaspoons of ground ginger. You know, when I would have had enough if I hadn't doubled it or done the whole thing. This is probably 1.5 teaspoons. And this one's supposed to be purple, but I don't have purple. But I have blue and red, which makes purple. It's purpley-ish. There we go, and they need to refrigerate for 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, he did it in discs like this. Alright, done. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. He says to roll them between 2 things of parchment paper until it's 8 by 10. Same thing. Flip them on each other. Oh my. Okay. And then you roll. He said to make sure that you get it pretty tight. Okay. To the fridge for an hour. Now it's time to cut these cookies. You're supposed to cut them into 1/4-inch discs. Okay, into a 325-degree oven for 10 to 12 minutes. And it looks like it's starting to brown. Let me just taste it. It's real soft. I taste more of the orange. They're pretty good. We're having our neighbors over for dinner tonight, so I'm making lasagna. This is my own recipe. It's a working masterpiece. Let's get the meat browned and get the water boiling for the noodles. I've got Italian pork sausage and some Longhorn beef. The flavor I really like in Italian sausage is fennel, but this isn't very strong. So I'm gonna add just a teaspoon probably, and put it in the mortar and pestle and crush that up just to add that to it. I mean, that's really nothing at all. Hopefully I can taste it. I'm gonna add my noodles, and I only need 9 of them. 7, 8, 9. Okay, I've turned off the vent fan for now, and of course my dogs are fighting in the background. I have to do this quick because I need the vent fan. This is made of sauce. 1 pint jar, and then diced tomatoes. We'll be using 2/3 of a can of tomato paste, and I think that's about what I have in this freezer jar. I do this kind of in layers, so quite a bit of onion powder. Probably only a teaspoon of the Italian seasoning. Fennel. Here's some dried basil from my garden. Tomato paste that's still frozen. It's pretty liquidy, so I may have to put a thickener. And then my garlic. I got my noodles drained, and I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil in there so they don't stick while we'll get everything else ready. This is pretty thin. So I'm probably going to add some cornstarch to it. So I'll just take some of this liquid out and add that. It's getting warm here in this kitchen doing this. If y'all didn't know, it's going to get in the 80s this week. And then it's going to go back in the 40s, like 2 days later. Don't be jealous though, because it gets 100 and stupid for like 5 months here. Not really 5 months, it's like 7 months, but... Okay, we use cottage cheese and not ricotta because it's like gritty to us. So I need 16 ounces of this, which is a little over half. And I put it in the mixer just to get it to a cheesier texture. I also need an egg. This year I need to cook down some of my tomato sauce so it's not so watery. I mean, this is an okay consistency, but I'm just gonna put the tiniest little bit of this at the bottom so the noodles don't stick. Don't tear up your noodles. Okay. And I think this one's just slightly wider too, this pan. Because a lot of times the last third noodle won't fit there, and it does in this one. So then take a third of my sauce. I don't know what order I go in, I forget. I have to look every time, and I didn't. I just grabbed the sauce. That's probably good. I'm just going to use half of this. And spread it out so I can spread it on the top. Then add about a cup-ish of mozzarella cheese. You can have Parmesan if you want, but Derek doesn't like it. And then I'll do the same thing. Like I said, same exact layer. Use a second half of the cottage cheese mixture because the next layer is gonna have everything but that cottage cheese layer. Masterpiece. For 45 minutes on 350, do it covered. And then uncovered for another 15. 45 minutes have passed. And you take that off. And 15 more minutes. Okay, there's my lasagna and cookies for tonight. We got garlic bread. But our neighbors forgot they were supposed to come over. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe. I upload Wednesdays and Sundays, and you can keep watching us grow our farm. Have a good one.